Hey guys, this is Ash, and you're watching WriterGAsh. So, as you can tell by the pile of books next to me, I'm clearly doing something with a wrap up, and I'm doing a top 22 before 2022. So, instead of doing either a top 10 or a top 21 for 2021, I decided since one, this was my golden year since I turned 22, and Taylor Swift released 22 this year, and we're going into 2022. Let's do 22 books. So, to hit that off, book number 22 is Isn't It Romantic by Lissa K. Adams. So, this book is part of the Bromance Club series, and it's really like a really good contemporary. It really addresses toxic masculinity, and it is from the male perspective, but it is literally a woman writing a man. And it's just a really good way to address some of the more toxic things about our society. And it's just fun in a cute, fun romance. That brings us to number 21, How Sweet It Is by Dylan Newton. It is about a grumpy and sunshine character, which is a beautiful trope, and it was one of the first arcs I read this year, and it was the best arc I read this year, if I have to say it. One of the best arcs I've read. Some fantastic arcs this year. But it's about a event planner and a author, and she's helping him plan his book release party. It's just a fantastic story, and it's cute. It's just a feel-good story. Perfect if you're looking for some holiday reads before going back into the thick of it in January. Next is book number 20, First Love Take 2 by Sajni Patel. This book is about a second chance romance, and it's about a intercultural, interracial relationship, and really addresses some of the more toxic things about the Indian culture and how like women are constantly held to this like unrealistic standard, and they're forced to act a certain way. How even like family or like people pretending to care about you will do things to put you down so they can feel better about themselves. And just like a really good book that I related to on a personal level. It is part of a duology. The first book was also fantastic, but because of the sheer amount of amazing books I read this year, it didn't make the list, but it was still a fantastic book. The next book is, no surprise to anyone, A Court of Wings and Ruin. Before I go talk about this book, come on, let's talk about these gorgeous, gorgeous Nerdy Ink covers. Nerdy Ink has become one of my favorite book cover companies now, and they just give you these like gorgeous artwork for your books. And I love the character art on the spine, and they've got freaking maps. Like, this is an awkward angle, but I'll get there. Like, you get the map of Prothean on each and every one of their books. And they have the same for Terracin, and I love that they've matched the colors to the book covers for the new edition, because I might be in the minority, but I freaking love the new editions, especially since they have like the hardbacks itself are colored, and I freaking love that. I love this kind of stuff. I'm a geek about covers and colorful stuff. Anyway, moving on. The reason this book was so low on my favorite books of the year is because it's been on the top of the list multiple times before. It's like one of my favorite series of all time. So I just wanted to give some other books chances to shine. And if I'm being honest, some of the books I've read this year really gave ACOTAR a run for its money. Like, fantastic books coming up ahead. The next book, not much of a surprise after me saying I didn't want to give them too high a position, is Akumath. Again, this is part of the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas, and it is a fantastic series in my opinion. It's not for everyone, I will give it that, but it is a high fantasy set in a world with fairies, and the main character is a huntress who hunts basically to help her family survive. And she's taken by a beast. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, the first book is. And she has to go live in the beast, a fairy's mansion, basically, to pay off her debt for killing a wolf that was his sentry. Anyway, fantastic book. If you don't like the first book, but you think you like how the series sounds, keep on going because it gets better with the second book. The second book, I think, is the crown jewel of the series. The next book is book number 17, and it's King of Scars. I read the Grishaverse this year, and I had already read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and I love those books already. So I thought I would love Six of Crows. And then, sorry, no, what did I say? I would love Shadow and Bone, but then I did not. I think the Shadow and Bone TV show is honestly better than the books. The pacing was so off. Maybe I would have liked it if I were a teenager or younger. It just was not great. And I was so scared that the Six of Crows duology were going to be the only books in the Grishaverse that I would actually like. And I love the TV show, so that's a fantastic show. But then I got to King of Scars, and for the first bit, I was like, still not into it. Then it hit me, this book is fantastic, and I couldn't, when I got past, the first few a few chapters, I was in. I was so in love with this book. When I read Rule of Wolves, I thought it was gonna be the best book I read this year, which will come up soon. Anyway, moving on to the next. The next book is While We Were Dating by Jasmine Gilroy. I read The Wedding Date by Jasmine Gilroy a while ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I loved it. It was fun, and at that point, Party of Two hadn't, no, wait, no. At that point, Wedding Party had not come out yet, and I was gonna read it, and then I never did until this year when I was in a reading slump, and I picked it up. And I breezed through it and really got back into Jasmine Gilroy's work. So number 15 by no shock is Party of Two by Jasmine Gilroy. And number 14 is The Wedding Party. So these books kind of are all about a group of characters. The first book, The Wedding Date, is about a doctor who lives in, I think, LA, and then a politician. I don't know exactly what she is, but she works for the mayor who lives in San Francisco, and then they meet by accident, and then she agrees to be his wedding date, and they have a fling, which turns into a real relationship. And then the second book is about his best friend. The third book, which is Party of Two, are about her two best friends who start hooking up behind her back, and they start catching feelings for each other. And while Party of Two is about the first book's protagonist's older sister and the California senator, and it's really about managing a relationship in the public eye and some of the more difficult things when you don't want to be in public eye and you have to be because of your partner. And then finally, While We Were Dating is about an ad exec fake dating a actress. And all of these books are fantastic. There is one other book which is about the MC in Wedding Party's mother. I didn't read that because I thought maybe I wasn't gonna enjoy it as much because the character is significantly older. Even though all of these characters are older, I've just been enjoying stuff about people in their 30s and even treading into early 40s, but I felt like one of these characters' parents wouldn't be something I would want to read about, and I never did. Anyway, moving on. The next book is book number 13 on the list, and it's Six of Crows. And then 12 is Crooked Kingdoms. I've already talked about them. I've loved them for so long, and they were just fantastic books to reread and hold a special place in my heart. The next book is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I saw this on Book Talk all of 2020 and never actually got around to reading it. I got this book in June. Then I was doing my sprayed edges for Pride Month. I did give those books away, and I now only have these ones. I'm gonna make them into the sprayed edges again. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been doing other sprayed edges behind me. If you check on my Instagram, you can see all the different like stenciled and sprayed edges I've been working on. It's been like a really fun project for me this year. Anyway, so this is Red, White, and Royal Blue. Fantastic book. It's about a prince of England and the first son of the United States, who seemingly hate each other at first, but eventually like they are in a relationship, and it's just the cutest book ever, and I enjoyed it so much. I remember like giggling through it. It was just heartwarming and just so much fun. The next book was Honey and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating. This one I still do have the sprayed edges on. And this is one of my favorite books. So this is about two Bengali girls who, again, fake dating. So Hani lies to her friends and tells them that she is in a relationship with a girl because her friends were being little shits about her being bisexual, saying, oh, you've never had a girlfriend, so you can't be bisexual. So like, she's like, oh, I do have a girlfriend. And then comes Ishu, who becomes her fake girlfriend if Hani can help her win class president or something like that. And it's just a really good book, and I highly, highly recommend it, guys. The next is After Age by Eve Brown. It's part of the Brown Sisters trilogy. I really enjoyed Talia Hibbert's writing, and it was one of the most anticipated books of this year for me, and it lived up to the hype. Eve is more wild than her two sisters. She takes risks that her other sisters wouldn't, and it's just fun to read about. The next book is A Court of Sulphur Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Again, it wasn't as good as some of the other books in this series, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I remember like jumping right in the night it came out, and I was done with it in like a day or two. Really amazing book. Can't talk about it without talking about the other books. So if you haven't read anything before it, you'll get spoiled. So I won't do that for you. Okay, the next book is Rule of Wolves. And I've got silver sprayed edges for it. Anyway, so Rule of Wolves is part of the Grisha Wars. It's the last book that came out. It's about Nikolai and Zoya. And again, can't spoil it for you guys, but it's a fantastic book. I think this one was my favorite book from the entire Grisha Wars. The next book is Sky Beyond the Storm, this is the Fairy Loot edition, and it is the last book in the Ember in the Ashes series. Ember in the Ashes was different from a lot of the fantasies I read because it just really embraces a culture other than the European culture. And I love that. And it was such a fun read, like seeing some things that I find familiar, like similar to my culture as well. And I know it's just a really good book. It's about Elias and Laia, which brings me to book number 5 on my top 22, Ember in the Ashes. So this is the first book in the series. So this follows Elias and Laia. Elias is a centurion. What is that? He's a mask. And they're like the warriors for the empire. And Laia is basically a slave. And it's kind of a forbidden romance, but it's also a story about a revolution, and it just elicits such strong feelings for some characters, and you really find it in your heart to feel sympathy for characters you don't think you would even like. And I can't say much without spoiling the plot, but it is a really good book and a really wonderful series. Number 4 is Chain of Iron. This is the new book that came out in 2021. It is part of the Last Hour series. It follows Tessa and Will's children, James and Lucy, and it is a fantastic read, and I highly, highly recommend it. Okay, so number 3 and number 2 on my list are These Violent Delights, and then number 2 is Our Violent Ends. So these are Romeo and Juliet retellings in 1920s Shanghai, where both Romeo and Juliet are heirs to different gangs in Shanghai, and it is about them working together and falling in love, and typical Romeo and Juliet, but with a gangster spin. But look, isn't this so gorgeous? Like the shine. They're both metallic edges, red and gold. I did gold for this one because the book is the Owl Crate edition and the inside of the book is gold. And I just love the way this book looks. And then on to my favorite book of 2021, if you're not in 2022 yet, is Once Upon a Broken Heart. When I got this, it took me a while to start reading it. I don't know why, it just took me, I didn't read it till like the end of October, I'm pretty sure. But it was one of the best, it was the best book I read in 2021. So this book follows Jax from Caraval, who is one of those villains you just can't help but love, and Evangeline Fox. And look at these, I made these, like, God, I've been so freaking proud of my stencil work this year. Like, the broken heart, a fox, an apple, and an arrow. The broken heart got a little messed up because the heart's not properly broken, but it is such a beautiful edition, and it is the Barnes & Noble special edition, so it's got this amazing secret cover, and I think that works even better with the thing. I've also got the UK edition, and I might do a bookshelf tour in January to show you guys my collection now that I finally have one. Anyway, so that is it for my books of 2021. And I hope you guys read some of these books. I hope you guys enjoy them because I had a really good reading year, and I read some of the best books I've ever read. And yeah, so I highly recommend getting into some of these magical worlds. For some reason, despite the fact that I read more contemporaries, fantasies, I love fantasies more, which is why a lot of my tops are fantasies, but you still see a few contemporaries here and there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys give these books a shot because they were fantastic and kept me going through this tough year. And then I'll see you guys in the new year. Bye!